What's up, everybody? Evan here for Grips.com, continuing with Project Get Me Stackin. Today's video is all about taking you out of that beginner stage and getting you over to that winning phase. Yeah, let's get into it. Hey, Evan. I've watched a few of your videos and appreciated your articulation of the game and various strategies for consistent winning, as well as your helpful attitude. Although I've been fascinated with the game for as long as I can remember, I didn't actually start playing until this last December, and I'm now 30 years old. I've made a couple of minimum deposits, and I feel, because I'm an overall intelligent person and excel at just about anything I attempt, that I did well in a few spots. But then, because of what I assume is my lack of knowledge about how to play properly, I ended up going back down to $0 on both occasions. In truth, in all honesty, it's probably not so much a lack of understanding how to play, it's probably more a lack of understanding how to manage money and how to manage a bankroll in poker, but there's another video on that already. From my studies, I've identified a few of my pitfalls and started to make adjustments that I know of, including purchasing the most recent version of Poker Tracker and watching what I am doing, sticking to the limits that my bankroll dictates, studying all the information I can get my hands on, with Google and YouTube being my best friends, and playing as many hands as possible. I am lucky to work from home, already as a freelance designer photographer, so I have the time to invest and usually some funds too. My comprehension of how to be profitable is improving, and I am winning more games more often than when I first started, though still mostly losing. So, I would like to know, 1. If I continue on this path, knowing how long I've been playing, that I am of above average intelligence and a fast learner, how much time should I expect to invest until I start to understand how to consistently win? 2. How much money should I reasonably expect to invest and or lose before I can see a turnaround on my money? I know that there are a lot of variables at play here, but even just pointing me in the right direction with additional videos or hopefully some personal advice would be great. Thanks, Darren. And thank you, Darren, for a fantastic question. I think that most people who are initially drawn to poker may be drawn in for, the easy money that seems to be present in it. But they get a little scared off when they realize that it requires some work to get that money. Oh, man. Fortunately, you sound like you are past that first stage and are well on your way to accepting that with effort and time, you will get your rewards. Now we address the issue of when will I get it? When will I flip the switch from unprofitable to profitable? And in short, it's hard to quantify the fine line on this. And there is no magic time frame I can give you for when you will become a winner. There isn't a magic formula like at 20 hours, you stop monkey tilting, at 100 hours, you'll be breaking even, and at 1,000 hours, you'll start winning. And at 5,000, you'll start printing money. It's just not like that. But the good news is, once you can separate yourself from needing specific numbers, from needing a specific amount of time, then your development, your progress towards being a winner will happen much quicker. Anyway, you know what we do. Let's get into the presentation. One of the biggest things I learned in the use of The Secret and the law of attraction is that yes, you can have pretty much whatever you want, but you are best served to create a plan of action and just keep telling yourself that if you follow that plan, what you desire will come, but you have to not worry about when it's going to come. Just know that it will come when you are ready for it. You've already identified what you want. And if you want to keep fueled up all the time, identify why you want it. And if you want to have the smoothest ride to your end destination with that full tank of gas, plan out how you're going to get there ahead of time. Make the journey much smoother. Another thing I learned is that knowing what you have to do, what steps are required to get you from point A, which is consistent losing noob, to point B, consistent winning shark, that how you do what's required to get there is more important than simply what you are doing. If you're just going through the motions, ticking off boxes and saying, okay, I've read all this and played this many hands, then I'll be a winner once I've done all that. You're probably not going to put in your best effort, and therefore you're going to miss out on a lot of the information, which will mean you need to reread stuff, relearn concepts, etc. If, however, you love every moment of the learning process, then your retention and absorption are probably going to be much higher because you're more likely to be in a peak learning state, and you'll also be more likely to be in a peak performance state when you play, thereby playing better, being willing to get more creative, and developing faster as a player. So the real key here is to embrace the process. You want to love every minute of learning, every minute of playing, every minute of reviewing, every minute of watching poker on TV, every minute of talking poker strategy with your friends. Because when you love it, it's easy to do, and you'll be excited to just play and get better, even if it means losing sometimes. You won't care about all the losing because you're just having such a blast anytime you're getting better. If you're just waiting for the end results of, being a winning player, I promise you not only will it take much longer to get there, but you may also abandon ship at some point because it seems frustrating, tedious, pointless, because you aren't at the end goal yet and the journey just isn't being enjoyed. So what's the point of being on the journey? Building on that, when it comes to something like poker, where the feedback the game gives you is often not reflective of how you're playing, it's easy to get caught up on the immediate happenings. You have to take a large scale view. But there's one more thing I want to touch on before I get to that. If you are, as you said, an above average learner, you know how to incorporate multiple learning methods, and you're focused on improvement rather than how much money you're winning or losing, you could probably become a winning player in under 3 months. If you're really sharp and on top of nipping things in the bud, you may be able to get there in 3 weeks. The key here is being process-oriented rather than results-oriented. But again, focus on enjoying the process, and suddenly you won't care about when you'll be there, because every part of the experience is just fun in and of itself. To speed up the process, I would also say question everything. Don't take everything as gospel. Don't just do something because a pro player told you it's a good play. Break the play down to its basic elements. Try to identify why it's a good play, what the merits of it are, and where it could be effective. You need to use your critical thinking. It's not just about memorization. Okay? It's about understanding. And the greater your understanding of concepts, the fundamentals, the finer you will be able to break concepts down, the easier it will be to understand advanced concepts and maybe even develop some of your own. You want to be creating your own style, not just copying others. Imitation is a fine starting point, but it is far, far from understanding. So, moving forward on the fact that poker has a great way of giving you terrible feedback, punishing you when you did the right thing, rewarding you when you've done the wrong thing. So, you have to not get caught up in the immediate happenings and take that large scale view. To be a winner at poker means to have a strategy that makes you money over the long haul. Coolers, bad beats, suckouts, they're going to happen, and they're going to happen both ways. This is what we call variance. It's a natural part of the game. But if you get caught up in the short term, you will think that variance is the reflection of your skills. It's not. You need to be making plus EV decisions and focusing on whether or not you have a long-term profitable strategy, and if you know what adjustments to make as the poker landscape changes so that you will always have a winning strategy. This is where the greater your understanding of the game as a whole will speed up your development, because you can evaluate your own situation and play better. Knowing the parts of the game will help you in specific situations, but a big picture understanding is a must for keeping your head on straight and keeping you on the right path. If you aren't able to do that, your head's gonna go in circles, you're gonna go crazy, you're gonna tilt all the time and give away all your hard work. Listen, no matter how good you get, no matter how good you become, you are going to go through swings. You're always gonna experience winning and losing. If you play multi-table tournaments, you're gonna experience losing way more than winning. But when you win, it will be for much more than the amounts you lost. Okay? Throughout your career, you're going to experience winning and losing days. You have to be prepared for these regular swings. It's not like a regular job where you just show up and you make money every day that you show up. To minimize the swings requires expert game selection and being able to bring your A game when you come to play, and being able to make good quits when you fall off that A game. To overcome the variance requires putting in volume to balance out the luck factor. So how long it takes you to hit that long run point depends on your ability to put in quality hands, and possibly how well you can multi-table or use software to get in those repetitions and practices. In terms of how much money you should expect to invest before you can see a turnaround on your money, I really can't say anything. How much you invest will be dependent on your chosen learning methods, if you choose to pay creators for their content or not. It's also highly dependent on what limits you're playing, what the competition is like, how well you apply what you've learned. There's just so much. I can't really boil it down to a number. The greatest investment in your quest to become a winning poker player is more likely to be time than it is money, since you will be winning a lot in between the times that you are losing. But the key is to make sure that you are putting in quality time rather than just time for the sake of time. There I am. Cool. You see, it's not just about going through the checklist. It's not just about doing all the things you think you need to do and then becoming great. It's about really getting involved in the process and doing it. So we're talking quality time versus just time for the sake of time. You can learn 5 to 10 times faster if you are fully focused when you study. If you are in a good physical and mental headspace and not distracted, you are going to get so much more out of every minute you allocate to your studying. So allocate time to your poker study. Identify what parts of your game you want to work on during that time so you can be efficient with your study time and accomplish what you set out to do. The more effectively you plan, the larger scale your approach, and the farther ahead of time you can map it out, the quicker your development will be. So a 3-month plan is superior to a 3-week plan, is superior to a 3-day plan, is superior to a 3-hour plan. But they all have their parts in the big picture. I know from personal experience that the difference really is night and day when you map it out versus just what am I going to do? I'm just going to see what happens. So be willing to allocate an hour just to plan. Not to do the thing, just to plan out the thing so you get more out of the time when you actually sit down and get to business. And trust me, you will get at least 10 times as many hours back in time saved for that 1 hour that you put in. So yeah, that wraps up my presentation on that, how you can go from beginner to consistent winner in the quickest time possible. But honestly, just enjoy the process. Don't force it. Don't worry about when it's going to happen. Just be happy, enjoying it every moment along the way, and you'll just get into it. You'll get passionate about it. You'll stay up extra hours to go find more information and put in more hands and do all this good stuff. It'll just benefit you in so many ways if you're really loving it and you're really into it. And that's it. So if you have any questions for Project Get Me Stackin, please send them on over to evan@grips.com with the subject line, Get Me Stackin. I hope you found this video insightful and informative. This has been evanforgrips.com. Till next time, saying peace, patience, and progress.